So I finally got out today and put about 350 rounds through the new Ruger RXM. So I figured I'd give you my initial thoughts on it. I'm actually very impressed with this. The only malfunctions I had were with aluminum cased laser ammo and the MagPul mags. After that, I stopped using the MagPul mags and just used Glock OEM mags, and I had zero malfunctions in the rest of those 300 and some odd rounds. Not sure what is causing that. So what do I like most about it? Honestly, the frame for me is the highlight of this. I'm not an iron-sighted shooter anymore. I stopped shooting irons years ago. So shooting irons today was kind of a throwback for me. I haven't seriously shot irons in over 10 years. I've been strictly dot shooting for a long time. The sights on this thing, though, are amazing. Whoever designed these or whoever is making these for Ruger came up with a heck of a design. That front sight, as you can see, it's got serrations on the bottom half, and then once you get to the tritium vial, no more serrations. I really like that combo. Very easy to see, just kind of pops. The rear sight, I really like the serrations on the rear sight. It makes for a fantastic sight picture. But for me, the real reason that I got this was the frame itself. Now, I haven't even taken this frame apart to look at the chassis system, but I've been waiting for Glock to do this for years. I've been looking at the Zev chassis system, and frankly, I just couldn't bring myself to shell out that much money for the chassis alone, when for me, really, this is more of a game gun, competition gun, fun around gun than anything else at this point. So when this came out and I was able to get it for $3.99 plus tax, I figured, man, this is it. What I'm really looking forward to is when MagPul comes out with the 12-round frame module, because once I get that, I will probably take a serious look at using this as my off-duty gun. For years, I've been running a Glock 26L, so a Glock 26 frame with a 19 slide, but once that different module comes out, I will probably switch over, just because I really, really, really like this frame. So for me, like I said, the highlights were the frame itself. It comes with a nice slide stop from the factory. I'm not sure if that's Ruger's design. Almost looks like a Vickers, but it's very nice. They probably, of all the aftermarket frames that I've bought, because I've got a lot, they have probably hit it out of the park when it comes to, for a Generation 3 style gun, the recessed mag release and the mag release itself. The contour of that magazine release are really nice. I really appreciated that. The texture of the grip, man, you can really lock it in. It wasn't too aggressive. So if you're used to that MagPul texture, you will really like this. They did a pretty good job with the undercut of the frame. I will probably go in and take a little bit off of here, just around it a little bit. But overall, this is probably the best executed undercut that I've seen on an aftermarket frame, other than the Lone Wolf Dusk frame. I think that one's probably got the nicest undercut that I've seen on any of the aftermarket frames. So there again, the iron sights are great. I didn't have any issues. Like I said, no malfunctions once I got rid of that one magazine. With the iron sights, I probably put at least 200 of those rounds that I shot through this top end. The other rounds were with a Brownells windowed slide, ported barrel, and a hollow sun. The one thing I will say, and it's typical of all factory Glocks, you know, they come with a factory recoil spring. The recoil spring that I'm running in that other top end is a 15-pound, and you can absolutely see the difference when you're tracking the sights when you use that 15-pound spring as opposed to the OEM. overall, I'm very impressed with MagPul's frame and what Ruger and MagPul pulled off with this. The magazine well, I will say this is probably the best magazine well on any of the aftermarket frames that I've seen. I really, really liked it. As you can see from the video, reloads were really easy. I was taking those reloads pretty good on that. And it's, I don't have to spend anything else, right? I don't have to buy a chute or a plug or anything like that just to get a good magazine well. That's one of the big problems with Glock, is the way they did theirs. And frankly, just about all of the aftermarket frames have dropped the ball on that one as well. Things that they could have done differently, if you want to be picky about it. I know some people like the Gen 4 magazine release. I get it, especially if you want it to be ambidextrous, but I understand why they did it. There's just not as much aftermarket support, when it comes to the Gen 3 stuff. There's way more support than anything else. Overall, though, really enjoyed this. I'm going to put a lot of rounds down the road. This is going to be probably my competition gun for the indefinite future. I will get an optic mounted on this here before too long. I've looked at the pin system that Ruger uses. It's reminiscent of the Echelon system and some others that I've used. I'm not sure I'm going to like that. Jeff Whitaker at Pew Pew CNC, he's bought one of these as well, and I think he's going to take a look at that mounting system as well. And if I don't like the pin system, I'll probably ask him to make me some custom plates for an optic. But overall, for $399 or less, I've seen online some guys are getting these for less than $399 out the door. $370 something, I think, was the lowest I've seen out the door when somebody purchased it. For the money, they are right on. The trigger on this flatter face trigger, I don't know why Glock has stuck with the trigger that they have, especially that ribbed trigger, because it sucks. This trigger, just dry fire and getting it broken in, it's getting better and better. So I don't think I'm going to change anything with the trigger. I think the only thing that I'm going to change with this, frankly, is if I change it to a different top end that's ported. But the frame itself, other than taking a little bit off right here, it's a winner as is. So thanks for watching. And if you guys are looking for a good gun this size, mid-size gun, Ruger just became relevant again in the semi-automatic game.